Hey folks, happy holidays. Hope your holiday season is going well. And I am wrapping up this entire year. This is the last episode, obviously, for the year, and continuing the conversation that I kicked off with last time on David versus Goliath. Received some inspiration from this book that I recently came across by Malcolm Gladwell. As I alluded to last time, I'm a huge Malcolm Gladwell fan. His other books, like Tipping Point, Outliers, just fantastic books, and was so excited to come across this one, and wanted to, it gave me a little inspiration actually to go in this direction and come up with this particular series, create this series for the end of the year. So folks, David versus Goliath, such an important concept, and especially regarding competitive strategy. And we know the fitness industry is always growing, always evolving, always changing, and so it's so important to do all that you can to maintain your competitive advantages. And so folks, in the spirit of David versus Goliath, and you've heard me talk about particularly how the David versus Goliath concept here has played out in several occasions here in our Metro Detroit fitness market. And folks, I just had to share this with you. As a speaker, it's just, common knowledge. As a speaker, you want to kick off with something that's strong, that's something that's compelling, and I am just so excited to share the news with you. And it actually stems from an email that I received. So I received an email from Planet Fitness, December 9th, 2019 at 12:20 p.m. So I'm scrolling, looking at my email. I was on my phone at the time. And folks, the title of the email is "We're Hiring." And then I said, okay. And then it says, job fair. And I know you can't read the writing or anything, but just so you can see. And so it says, Planet Fitness is coming to Plymouth and filling full and part-time positions. Visit us December 17th and January 14th from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. at our pre-sale office located at 236 North Main Street, Plymouth, Michigan. To apply, visit planetfitness.com/careers. Questions, email recruiting@pfmichigan.com. And so when I saw this, it made me smile, it made my day, it made my week, it made my December. And let me tell you why. Now, you've heard me allude to it probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 episodes here on Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS since June of 2018. And I alluded to what I consider to be the worst workout that I've had in 25 years. I mean, there's there's just no other way to describe it. I was, within the first 5 minutes, I was tempted to throw in the towel. But I hung in there. I mean, looking back in hindsight now after all this time, I'm really proud that I hung in there and just didn't give up, because it's, any type of adversity, any type of challenging situations or scenarios, folks, are always good for us. Even though they may not seem like it at the time, and I can look back now, and from a fitness standpoint, just from an overall character development standpoint, that was good for me, because I need to, yes, I'm passionate about fitness and all of this and that, but I need to have experiences too where I'm just tempted to be like, you know what, I'm out of here, forget this. That's good for me as well, particularly from a leadership perspective. So, worked out at the Planet Fitness in Northville, Michigan. All due respect to that location. Wonderful people at that location. Certainly Doug at the front desk and the other folks, just hardworking, dedicated, loyal team. So again, this is no comment whatsoever about the people. It's a comment about the place. Remember, as I alluded to, that was the last episode, December of 2017. And I think I've been a member of Planet for about 6 months. I was still at the Planet Fitness in Novi at the time. But I talked about, when we talk about from the SWOT analysis standpoint, bam! When I'm talking about, particularly, I'm just going to utilize myself as an example, and that's what I did in that final episode of 2017. You can scroll back a couple years and find it if you were so inclined. But I talked about the concept in terms of strengths and weaknesses. When I think about a facility, when I talk about strengths and weaknesses of a facility, I'm thinking of 2 different components, 2 main components of my analysis. All right, so just think about Rachelle, the fitness fanatic, been going at it 25 years. Strengths. Okay, that strengths or weaknesses. There's either the people or the place. And so that's conceptually how I look at facilities. And you'll see this, whether you're talking about reviews, or you talk to members, or you talk to former members, or, it's always, oh, the people are so wonderful. or oh, their trainers are the best. Think about from a feed point standpoint what you have heard, what you have read, what you have seen, what you have experienced. The people are the best. The people are awesome. All their trainers have degrees. All their trainers are just so motivational. They all their people employees have been there for 10 years or more. So there's comments and all of that around the people, and then also the place. The place. So the place can be, oh, this place is huge. Oh, this place is well laid out. Oh, this place is cold. Oh, this place is hot. Oh, this place, just the machines are too crammed together. Oh, they have the best equipment. This and that. So the place. I mean, there's just a gazillion different examples I can give you from both of those, but the people and the place. And so for me personally, the place is always top of mind. The place for me will always win. The facility itself will always be more important to me when evaluating in terms of my own fitness journey. Place. It's very important that the facility be strong, that the facility have a nice spacious layout. Just there's things like that. Just that place is so important in terms of my own comfort level in fitness, and that's based on my own strengths and weaknesses. As a person that's been on this fitness journey for a long time, I have a high level of self-awareness. I know myself well, so it's easy for me to think about, where do I fall on this? What are the strengths of this facility? Where do I fit in this and that? So, long story short, won't get into it, but had a very, very, very just unexpectedly bad workout. And I've described it before as what I consider to be like the San Quentin of Planet Fitness. I mean, it's just when I left that place, I had to go outside. There's a creek or something behind there, and there was some concrete benches and tables and all that. So I went out and sat down on one of the concrete benches as I had a doctor's appointment after that. So I had to, kind of just, chill out, calm down a little bit, because I was, disgruntled. But I prayed. I literally, first time ever in history, prayed regarding a workout and regarding something fitness related like this. And I just prayed, Lord. I said, Lord, the people of this suburb deserve something better than this. This layout, that the bathroom situation, just being like this, backed up against the wall. Lord, the people deserve better than this. Please, Lord, send the people something better. I don't know what it is, I don't know what it's going to look like, but Lord, give them something good. And that was it. And so I was so happy when I saw this email, and I thought to myself, like, man. So according to Google Maps, this new location located in one of our suburbs here in Plymouth, west side of Metro Detroit. According to Google Maps, this new location will be 4.3 miles. There's a 4.3 mile difference between that location that I just alluded to and this new location. And so how that relates to this whole David versus Goliath concept is we've heard me talk about, again, strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external. All right, so your threats, yes, your threats are obviously different franchises, different corporate chains, different private facilities, community facilities, whatever the case may be. But from a threat standpoint, threats exist, particularly for franchise situations. Threats can exist in terms of inter-franchise competition or intra-franchise competition. What I mean by that is, say there's a franchisee that has 10 locations in Grand Rapids, Michigan, or Saginaw, Michigan, whatever the case may be. I can choose so many different Michigan cities. And if that person owns all the locations, then yes, there's going to be some competition. Sometimes, not always. It just depends on the culture between those 10 different facilities. All right, but what you can also have is if there are different franchisees in the same city, in the same area, in the same region, you can have competition between franchisees or franchise owners. Okay, even though it may be within the same chain, yes, they are competing with each other. And I want you to hear me, franchisees, and I've alluded to this in a previous competitor strategy episode. People compare facility to facility within the same chain. I cannot tell you how many times, because fitness comes up a lot, just in conversations. I can be in line at the grocery store. I can be picking up something at Walmart, whatever the case may be. Fitness comes up a lot in my conversations. And there's been a number of times I've run into somebody that's a member of a various different, depending on where I am in our Metro Detroit area, that's a member of Planet Fitness or used to be, and people compare. People compare. And so what I wanted, the point I was going with, or certainly I'm alluding to here, is that what you've got here, this newest location is a PF Michigan Group gym, or will be, and you've heard me allude to them in a number of episodes here over the course of the last, a couple years, almost couple years, since I transferred my membership to the Commerce Country Club here, and they own that gym as well. And so what I consider them to be, and I've alluded to them before, a number of different times in various episodes, PF Michigan Group is the Goliath of the fitness industry in the state of Michigan. All right, and so what you have now is Goliath moving close, next suburb, 4.3 mile difference according to Google Maps between the two. So you've got Goliath coming in, and you've got Goliath, and I've experienced this personally. They do a fantastic job with layouts. That is just one of their franchise group strengths. It's the layouts. It's very consistent, very strong, good safety zones. They do a fantastic job. Now the last count, and I've lost count, was they own 46 clubs. I know it's probably more than that now. Of course, this one is coming maybe 47, 48, 49. And so they've got a lot of expertise, a lot of leadership expertise that definitely tells you just they've successfully mastered this business model. The business model for Planet Fitness. So you have a group like that coming in, where a facility from a layout standpoint, it's a very old, the Northville location is a very old building, and so the layout is just not ideal. And I think back to my Northwestern days, and you've heard me allude to this as well, where in group projects, we had to sit there, we had to present, obviously, our consulting projects at the end of the quarter. We have to have group presentations, so we had to sit down and listen to each other's presentations, and why was that? And I remember Rachel be like, I don't care what this other group does, I'm going home, whatever. And I look back now and I think about what a phenomenal lesson that was, that the professors were teaching us to have some humility, teaching us to be open, to recognize there's different ways of doing things, there's different executions. All right, and so we needed to be open-minded. We need to have enough humility to just sit there and listen. And many times, folks, we would listen and think to ourselves, wow, how did they come up with that? That's such a great idea. That's such a creative execution. Like, wow, why didn't we think of that? And so I just think that's always such a wonderful idea, and that's why I'm always giving you different examples from different industries, also from within the fitness industry, because I want you to be exposed. Because so often to just get a bout of tunnel vision, a permanent bout of tunnel vision, and just think that your facility or your facilities are all there is, and you don't have a clue of what's going on in your competitive marketplace. But also, sometimes within the same franchise, if you happen to be a franchisee. So that is just so important. But when I saw that, it inspired me to develop a case study called "The Heat Is On." The heat is on. Okay, you've got Goliath moving that close to this club. All right, and it's going to be it's going to bring some heat. It's going to bring some heat. So I just want in a good way. And as I alluded to, I was so happy when I smiled and I saw that, folks. If you could have seen my reaction, it was like, thank you, Lord. That's not even my suburb. That's not even my club. But remember, I'm pro-fitness industry. I want the best for people regardless of where they are, of where they live. I want people to have a good experience. I want people to dive into fitness and remain committed to fitness years and years and years later. I don't want someone to get frustrated. I don't want someone to throw in the towel. I don't want people to have bad experiences. Or in my case, as I alluded to, feel like I'm on lockup, an edition of MSNBC's old lockup show in San Quentin, the San Quentin of Planet Fitness. And so options are wonderful. Options are wonderful. But just recognize, who are the Goliaths in your area? Who are the Goliaths in your market? Perhaps you're the Goliath in the market. But see, recognize the Davids, as I alluded to last time, are going to be coming after you, going to be coming at you. So you always want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on in the market. But I just had to kick off with that, folks. It truly made my day, made my week, made my December. Was just so happy because a very strong option is coming to the folks of Plymouth, Michigan, yes, but also Northfield. They'll have options. They'll have options, which I think is a wonderful thing, a wonderful thing. And so, folks, also last time heard me talk about it. I highlighted Sutherland's, which is a national family-owned home improvement chain, lumber, and so they also sell lumber as well. And so when you think about that, and I saw this article here, and I love when this happens, when I point something out, because I was talking about competitive strategy of the Goliaths being Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, places like that. But also when you think of Sutherland's, you know, their tagline is helping America build it better since 1917. So while you think about, they've been around a long time, certainly, you know, longer than their competitors. And so in the December 9th edition of Advertising Age, folks, it really, and I love when I come across articles that tie into something I've recently covered to highlight. So there's an article here on Home Depot that I'm just going to briefly touch on. And so the title of the article is Home Depot Debuts New Tagline, New Digital and Delivery Options. Retailer worked with longtime partner, the Richards Group. So Adrienne Pasquarelli wrote this article here, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of paragraphs in the interest of time. Home Depot is still doing, but it's doing a little differently. The home improvement retailer is switching up its tagline as part of a broader marketing effort, debuting this week. The new tagline, How Doers Get More Done, will replace the More Saving, More Doing line the retailer has used for more than a decade, as it seeks to showcase its updated digital and delivery options for modern shoppers. I'm going to close out with this here for this article. Same store sales, which measures sales at stores that have been open for a year or more, missed analyst expectations. So this is not stock advice. This is an example of competitive strategy, because what we see here, they're going away from the old tagline, more saving, more doing. And so one thing that is certainly true for the general population, yeah, you've got your outliers that are very wealthy and money's no issues, no money's no object, but saving money is always good news. You know, from a marketing strategy, from a messaging standpoint, from an advertising standpoint, saving money is always is a good idea and always a good positioning. So, but they've moved away from that. It looks like they've had it for a number of years, so they're moving away from that. And so what does that mean? If I'm a competitor, and as I mentioned last time, Sutherland's, I've noticed just with my own experiences there and having to go pick up an item last time I was in Shreveport, Louisiana in November, that there's some definite price advantages. And so when I saw this, and it's the first thing I thought of, that's an opening. That's an opening. If you're a competitor and you've got some cost and pricing advantages, you see something like this, you hear something like that, that's why, you know, regardless of what field or what industry we're talking about, you gotta think about what's going on in a competitive landscape. Where's my opening? Is there an opportunity here? Again, going back to the SWOT analysis, what are the market opportunities that exist out there? What's going on? And I just smiled and I saw that and I said, yep, for any one of their competitors, they've got an opening. They've got an opening there, particularly if there are cost advantages. So just had to share that. Oh, yes. And before I forget, there was something else I wanted to highlight. Told you last time, Procter & Gamble. As I mentioned, my love of Gain laundry detergent. It's just folks, you have no idea how happy I was at the Michigan Home Lab, University of Michigan, the Institute for Social Research study I participated in, and you can see I've actually put my token memento there to remind me of that wonderful experience where I tested laundry with blind, so I didn't know which was which, but I knew Gain when I smelled it. I had a wonderful experience there. And I told you, from a marketing standpoint, from a consumer packaged goods industry standpoint, Procter & Gamble it's always been a powerhouse. And so what did they get? According to Advertising Age 2019, Procter & Gamble, #1 marketer of the year. And so it was so cool, and I was like, yeah, well, last time I highlighted the market research, you know, opportunity that I participated in, you know, regarding the laundry products, Tide and Gain being my all-time favorite, love Gain. But so that's an example. They do a lot, but again, they've got massive budgets for marketing. Marketing is just a huge component of what they do. The consumer packaged goods industry is very marketing sensitive, also very price sensitive. So that's why you'll see sometimes in your newspapers, oftentimes, Procter & Gamble products. You'll see the coupons that come in the newspapers, which are also, the formal name is FSI, or freestanding inserts, with coupon after coupon after coupon. That's just kind of the backbone, the backbone of consumer packaged goods in many cases is price. Lowering, giving coupons, lowering the price to drive volume, and that's certainly a way that they do that. All right, folks, and next, another example of David versus Goliath. David versus Goliath in higher education. Something else, I'm very, very passionate about is higher education. And so, I'm going to highlight here, yes, my beloved alma mater, Northwestern University. And so what I wanted to highlight here, when you think about from a fundraising standpoint, from an endowment standpoint, all right, we've got universities with a lot of money in terms of their endowments. People giving donations, and some are restricted to say, well, I want my money to fund athletics. If you've donated, you can see, particularly to universities, you can often sometimes see a designation of where you want your funds to go. All right, that's called, those are restricted donations. Then you have unrestricted, where you just send money and they can just use it, whether it be for annual fund or athletics or capital improvements, whatever the case may be. And so something I've always been very interested in is university endowments, and just looking at how much money do they have. And you'll see it phrased differently depending on where you read about them. Some will say the wealthiest colleges and universities, some will say the richest, some will say the best endowed, whatever the case may be. And so when I actually did a search here, so it was December 15th this year at thebestschools.org. And so I did a Google search, top endowments, colleges and universities in the United States. And so of course the list came up. The first one was thebestschools.org. I also looked at Forbes and made sure to cross-check with the rankings and some of the others. And so, number one, I'm gonna highlight the top 10 and tie Northwestern into this. Number one endowment, Harvard University, $38.3 billion. Number two, the University of Texas System, $30.8 billion. Number three, Yale University, $29.3 billion. Number four, Stanford University, $26.4 billion. Number five, Princeton University, $25.9 billion. Number six, MIT, $16.5 billion. Number seven, University of Pennsylvania, $13.7 billion. Number eight, Texas A&M University System, $13.5 billion. Number nine, University of Michigan, $11.9 billion. And number 10, Northwestern University, $11.08 billion. And so, you think about why certain schools have the endowments that they do. This is truly a testament to their fundraising efforts. Won't dig into all the various types of fundraising, but what I wanted to do, you think about David versus Goliath, the framework of David versus Goliath. So obviously Harvard, with an endowment of $38.3 billion, is the Goliath of the American college and university fundraising success example. And so all the other universities, particularly in that top tier, where everyone's chasing Harvard, everyone's trying to increase their alumni participation rates in terms of those who give and support the university after graduation, as well as members of just the communities in which they operate. They're just always soliciting funds for donations for various programs. And we see Northwestern, little old Northwestern, comparably speaking to your University of Texas System, very large alumni base, very large number of students on their various campuses across the state of Texas, as well as the Texas A&M system with separate locations across the state of Texas. So you've got these large universities, obviously with these very large endowments, but you've got very small Northwestern University, comparably speaking, in the top 10. And what I wanted to do was just share these quick insights from, again, David versus Goliath standpoint. So what is one of the Davids, Northwestern University, doing to increase, and what have they done in order to get in that top 10, continue to aggressively fundraise and move on up as much as they humanly can. And so Northwestern University, I love my alma mater, just wonderful experience. As a student, as an alum, would not trade anything. But I can tell you from a fundraising standpoint, they solicit often. They solicit often. And I've joked that literally, whenever you get any type of mail from Northwestern University, for me, it's a fundraising letter. It's a fundraising card. It doesn't matter what it is. They will email you. They pull out all the stops. And so this was an example, and I saw this when I smiled when I pulled it out of the mail. Season's greetings from Northwestern University. Because I told you, whenever I say anything with Northwestern on it, okay, they're asking for money. So this was a Happy Holidays card. And so it has, it talks about your gift and warmest wishes for a joyful holiday season, Northwestern University. And so, of course, it has thank you for supporting Northwestern and my gift amount and my areas of support. They look at your past history, database analysis, to evaluate what entities within the university you've given to it in the past, if you want to continue to support those, or if you want to give an unrestricted gift. So that's certainly an example. And what we have here is our Northwestern Alumni Magazine, or Northwestern Magazine. And so, what do they do? What do they do? And so what you will see in this magazine, very, very almost pretty much non-existent reference to sports. All right, there's certain universities and colleges that are athletics and sports powerhouses that can generate a lot of money from athletics. LSU, the LSU Baton Rouge certainly as an example. Actually, the entire system. There's a lot of support that goes to the athletics, particularly football at LSU. But Northwestern is not an athletic powerhouse. But within certain, golf does well, fencing, rugby, some of those types of, and you can see here, this is the sports emphasis here within this magazine, which is fall of 2019. But what they do is talk about Pulitzer Prize winning professors and, all the research that's going on. And so in this news, they were talking about a modern home for discovery. Really quickly, Northwestern opens the largest biomedical academic research building in the U.S. So they talked about that, and they tell the story about what's going on, all the innovation, all the growth, and new things happening. And I want to quickly get here to fundraising. So we've got several pages here that talks about in direct and not so direct ways about giving. So we've got an article here on scholarships. Northwestern receives its largest gift to financial aid, and it says university trustee Jeff Ubben and Laurie Ubben have committed $50 million for student scholarships. And so you've got a picture here of the students and all of that. Another example, next page over, new Chicago facility spurs collaboration and discovery, and it says the Lewis A. Simpson and Kimberly K. Query Biomedical Research Center unites physicians and scientists under one roof. So it talks about that, and it talks about the opening of the facility and how there's this big celebration. Got another article here titled Women Philanthropists Pay It Forward. As Northwestern marks the 150th anniversary of coeducation at the university, we recognize our generous women donors. And it's really interesting to note, you can't certainly see this well, obviously I don't have a screen, but this is a picture of Roberta Buffett Elliott. Yes, the sister of the Warren Buffett, who graduated from Northwestern in 1954, and it highlighted her, and she actually made a $101 million donation to the university, and it founded the Roberta Buffett Center of International Studies, and so she has actually had the largest gift to date of the university overall. And so it's things like that. They're highlighting people giving, millions of dollars. So they tell the story of people, very, very wealthy people, very, very, very successful people who give money to the university, and that certainly propels and spurs giving by many others. And so these folks, they've got phone banks. Any method of fundraising, they do it. And the reason why I'm highlighting Northwestern, obviously, is because I've got personal experience. I hear from them all the time. Like I told you, you get a Thanksgiving card. It's going to be a fundraising. There's going to be a fundraising component to it. Doesn't matter what it is, But that's how they've gotten in that top 10. As small as the university is, relatively as small as our alumni base is to some of the big guys in the top 10. That's one of the ways that they do it. What did I say last time? How does David conquer Goliath? One step at a time, interaction by interaction. And from a fundraising standpoint, fundraising letter by fundraising letter, campaign by campaign. That is how Goliaths in all types of industries and sectors are conquered. And so, folks, here, another David versus Goliath example I wanted to highlight. Heard me talk about just a wonderful experience I'm having from a research standpoint, a research participant at Michigan Medicine, and also now the University of Michigan. Other departments, I participated in a autonomous vehicle study one day, and also a vehicle steering study, so some product research, and so just wonderful, in addition to clinical and medical research, being a healthy volunteer. Just been wonderful. And I told you 2 or 3 months ago that, I've been so inspired by the level of care and the quality of care that I've actually, starting last summer, so it was August 5th, was my first official internal medicine appointment where I'm switching, in the process of switching all my doctors over to Michigan Medicine. So just so impressed with the quality of care, the continuity of care, just being able to handle things on the portal, the potential for e-visits, just their technological innovation and what they're doing, being so forward-thinking. Again, going back to David versus Goliath, Michigan Medicine is ranked number 11. Health system, hospital system in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. So I've been blown away by the quality of care. And so my experience interacting when I was a biotech sales rep, Ann Arbor, University of Michigan used to be one of my accounts, very tough account. I can tell you the charisma and charm of Rachelle that is usually helpful got me nowhere. It was just very, very tough account. But now that I'm on the other side as a patient, I see exactly, it all makes perfect sense now. All makes perfect sense. And so having a wonderful experience. But I had an appointment with a specialist that I had switched over, waited more than 4 months for this particular appointment. Michigan Medicine can, depending on the specialty or whatever, can take a while for you to get booked. So I had an appointment on December 6th, saw a particular specialist, which was going to remain nameless. And you know me, I'm a stickler for details, and so it always pains me when I can't be detailed, when I'm giving examples of things that happened to me in my life, whatever, but out of respect for the person, I'm always big on preserving dignity, saving face. It's going to be Dr. X. So I saw Dr. X on the 6th of December, waited a long time for that appointment, as I stated, had the appointment and everything, but when I left, and 2 or 3 days after, I just, didn't have peace about the situation, just didn't have peace. And it's important to note, particularly from an evaluation standpoint, keep in mind, I worked in medical sales for a number of years. All right, and so that was the bulk of my experience in corporate America. And so interacting with physicians at hospitals, in medical staff, in formal locations or anywhere, just even in random conversations, and it is something that's in my wheelhouse, big time. So I truly have a ton of experience interacting with physicians, so I can evaluate them and just determine and ask questions and all of this and that. So didn't feel comfortable leaving that appointment. And so, left the appointment, thought about it, just, something's not right, whatever, this and that. And so, anyway, made the decision to change doctors. So, called the call center for the particular specialty and said, hey, I had this appointment. I actually want to go in a different direction, and I want to schedule a new patient appointment, again, within the same specialty, with another physician. And so the person on the phone handled it very well, very, very respectful. And it reminded me, as you've heard me talk about many times before, a long time ago, Victor, when I transferred from the Novi Planet Fitness to Commerce. There's a way to handle that. He did a wonderful job with a lot of humility and graciousness, but also respect for the location that I was leaving, and whatever. And the same thing was true in this particular case. So got an appointment on the books for another physician, actually, and whenever I schedule doctor's appointments, or my parents need to see a new physician or specialist or anything like that, folks, I do a lot of research. I'm studying their credentials. Where do they go to school? What research have they published? Again, this was in my wheelhouse. And so I researched and actually ended up getting now one of the best in the state, very highly recognized person within this particular specialty. So anyway, made that change, not looking back, whatever this and that. But what I want to highlight here is, I'm one to give feedback. Like many times you guys all you hear is the positive feedback and the kudos and the letters and all of this and that. when appropriate. But I'm human just like everyone else. Every experience is not positive. Every experience is not going to be great and perfect, whatever. Which I'm not perfect. None of us is perfect. And so no experience is going to be perfect. And so, again, I'm always thinking based on who I am as a person. What are my strengths and weaknesses that I'm bringing to the table? And how does it fit into this particular situation? So, made that change, received an email confirmation of my new appointment date. It had been updated in the portal. Wonderful. Great. Okay, so then, folks, less than 20 hours later, the next day, so December 11th at 4:41 a.m., I get an email from Michigan Medicine. And the email is from, I don't have time to read it, I'm not going to go into all of this, but John I. Allen, MD, MBA, Interim Chief Clinical Officer, University of Michigan Medical Group, Medical Director, Office of Patient Experience. Got an email, long story short, asking for feedback on the physician that I left, the physician's office that I left. I completed the survey, and there's just a couple of points that I want to make here. Because when we talk about, again, the David versus Goliaths, these top-rated health systems, these top-rated franchises, these top-rated whatever, feedback and soliciting feedback is something that they do constantly. And when I saw this, and I kind of, laughed to myself and said, I can never make a clean break. I mean, personally. Whenever I leave something, whenever I go somewhere, it's always, I can never just leave and just be done and never hear from anything or anyone again. There's always somebody reaching out to me like, what happened? What can we do? Whatever this can do, okay, give us another chance, whatever. And this was just, again, further reinforce that point. So completed the survey. And as always, my feedback was balanced because they're asked questions about the practice, the timing of the appointment. I mean, they're trying to determine from a key performance indicator, performance metric standpoints, what happened? Was it the appointment scheduling? Was it the appointment itself? Was it the interaction with the staff? Was it the interaction with the physician? Whatever the case may be. So as always, I balance even in negative experiences. Like when I told you about my visit to the Planet Fitness in Northville in June of 2018. Wonderful staff, wonderful people, hardworking, making things happen. All right, but just again, in terms of the place, it was a very bad experience for me, a very bad interaction that I will never forget and will never experience again. I mean, this is not happening. All right, but there's a lot of good in that situation is what I'm saying. So even though I changed physicians and going in a different direction, there was still good in that, those interactions and that appointment and all of that in that process. So with my feedback was balanced, this was the good. This is what this person did well. This is the person, even the physician, this is this person's strengths, this person was this, and this person was that, positive. However, now that's where it was coming. However, this person did not or was not confident in his or her, I'm not telling you, his or her decision making. And so I did not feel comfortable moving forward because I did not trust this person's judgment. From a clinical standpoint, from a patient standpoint, I didn't trust a person's judgment because they lack confidence. And so if you're doubting yourself, and you know me, I'm always talking about confidence. I seem to be slipping it in here in this episode unexpectedly. All right, confidence is so important, particularly in leadership. None of us is perfect. We're not going to know what we're doing all the time. But one thing that is certain in my life, when there's a person, particularly a person that is being paid, or some type of expert, and this person has a leadership role in my life like that, I want you to demonstrate confidence. I want you may be never had a patient like me before, and I mean, yeah, I'm healthy, so but it's not as appropriate, but you know where I'm going with that. I want you to act, you may not have a clue what's going on, but just portray yourself like, yes, I've been to medical school, I'm the expert in this situation, and here's what it is. But if I'm in a position when I'm in an interaction with a physician and they're hemming and hawing and they're not sure, I'm questioning. Like, you know what? There's other people out there. What do you hear me say? Always there's options. You've got options. You can't be afraid of change. There's options. And so when I saw this, and I was honest. You know me, I'm very big, I'm going to tell the truth. I come to your clinic, I come to your hospital, I come to your gym or facility, I'm going to, you never have to worry because I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. And so that was the feedback that I gave. And so, again, that's the situation where the staff was wonderful, the timing was wonderful. Yeah, it took a little while to get the appointment, but I was a new patient, and sometimes, all across the board, various entities, they take a while to book new patients, particularly for specialists. So that was all good. But what, again, David versus Goliath, Michigan Medicine, one of the top ranked hospital systems in the nation, were right on it. And I saw this and I said, I should have known better. In terms of not thinking I thought I was gonna have a clean break. Like, okay, they've got a gazillion patients at Michigan Medicine across the state, and I just know that I'm not gonna hear a word. But then when I got this email, I was like, thought I was gonna have a clean break, get a clean break, and I was wrong. But what do Goliaths do? Goliaths are all over feedback. So the programmers, and clearly they've set up from a software standpoint, and the programmers, set up some type of alert, where, hey, if someone in my behavior, canceling a follow-up appointment that was scheduled with this physician, and then booking a new patient appointment with a colleague of this person, raised a red flag. And so I was flagged, and so I got this email, and so they wanted feedback. But see, think about that from the standpoint of patient retention, patient engagement, patient satisfaction. They were on it. I mean, they were less than 24 hours. They were on it. I got this email. I provided this feedback. And that's a tough situation where it's a confidence issue. And so it'd be interesting to see how that's handled. But that's why I'm always harping on confidence so much. That is just so important, because if you're doubting yourself, if you're hemming and hawing, even if you're a personal trainer and somebody's hemming and hawing about what a program designed for a new client. I mean, if that person, particularly if they have any type of personal training experience and they've been with other trainers, they're going to be thinking to themselves, like, him or herself is going to be thinking, do I really want to be with this person? So, just wanted to share that. Got to be all over feedback. It's so important to know exactly what's going on, in your entity or your entities, whatever the case may be, folks. And I want to close out here with an article. So we talk about at the end of the year, we talk about people making exciting plans for 2020, and perhaps you've got some strategic planning going on in your facility or facilities. But I wanted to highlight here, talk about leadership, and leadership is so important. And how we as leaders, regardless of what and who we're leading, we have to take responsibility. Passing the buck all the time is just not acceptable. Because it's John Maxwell, I've been quoting this for the last, I don't know how many years, but John Maxwell, world-renowned leadership expert, said, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if your gym is struggling, if your gyms are struggling, if you got turnover problems, whatever the case may be, the buck stops with leadership, with leaders. Keep that in mind. And so I wanted to highlight an article here from obviously dealing with the NFL. And so this article was from the Boston Globe. Dan Shoghesenny wrote this article on November 18, 2019, and I've been saving it here on my iPad for this particular purpose. The title of the article is Tom Brady, again, the wonderful, highly successful quarterback for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady is frustrated with the Patriots offense, but won't take any blame himself. And so I just want to quickly highlight here just a couple of points here. It said the Patriots are 9-1, again back in November, sharing the best record in football. But the New England sky is falling because Tom Brady is unhappy. And Brady is not taking blame for anything regarding the Patriots' struggling offense. Evidently, we all need to give Tom a hug and tell him it's not his fault. And so there's obviously more to the article, but I don't have time to get into all of that. But folks, when I read that, and it just really kind of struck me from a leadership standpoint, because how often is that mindset where a leader, regardless of what a person, an individual is leading, won't take responsibility for the struggles. Yeah, it's easy to take responsibility, and yes, we're successful. Yes, we're doing this, and yes, we're doing that. But also taking responsibilities for the failures, for the struggles, for the hardships, for the problems that exist. And we know this. The Patriots have definitely had some struggles this season. But at the end of the day, everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay, the quarterback is the field general. All right, so if an offense is struggling, everything starts. Yes, there's individual parts, there's individual positions, but everything rises and falls on the quarterback, as well as obviously, the head coach, and they've got their assistants and things like that, coordinators. But folks, I just wanted to utilize that to highlight when you're thinking about 2020, you're making your plans for next year, and you're asking yourself, what is the problem? Problem definition. I spent an entire series there talking about that this fall. What is your problem? Defining the problem. Make sure an inability to take responsibility for whatever the problem or problems you're facing is not one of the problems. Take responsibility. Leadership is hard. We're going to have problems. We're going to make mistakes. We're not going to do things right. It's not going to be easy. You're going to get judged. You're going to get criticized. You're going to get rejected. I mean, all of that is part and parcel of leadership. But what we've got to do, if we want to make positive changes in any aspect of our lives, any aspects of our business, any aspects of fitness industry, whether it's someone running clubs, or owning clubs, whatever the case may be, leadership requires us to say, hey, I can't cover my eyes and pretend like it doesn't exist. When you've got more turnover than a pancake critical at IHOP on a Saturday morning, face truth, and determine what is the real problem. Yes, it's going to be tough. It's going to take time. This isn't going to be pretty for us to solve this problem. But what can we do? What can we do for a better outcome? Because why? That old quote, all right? Einstein, doing the same thing over again, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. Okay, none of us wants to just keep running around the same block, not getting anywhere, running around in circles, not doing anything, wasting time, money, effort. All right, we have to take responsibility and say, what's wrong? What's working in my life? What's not working in my life? Be willing to change. Be open to you see me, and that's why I strive to be transparent. And the good things, my good experiences, and my negative experiences, and changes, and transitions, and all of that, because I just want you to see. Number one, yeah, I'm always going to be real. And to borrow from the vernacular, I'm going to keep it 100%. But also, I just want you to see, all right, my ability to be open has benefited me tremendously in my life. All right, I could have still been, been clinging on to convenience, saying, Powerhouse Gym in Novi, with all due respect to that club and the owner of the club and everyone who works there still, I could have still been clinging on, unhappy, trying to have convenience of having a gym that's less than a mile from my house. But I was open, I was willing to change. Okay, made the change over to another club in Novi, Planet Fitness. Then made the change over to the Commerce Club. They do a great job. I'm very pleased at Planet Fitness. And yes, eventually, is there going to be another chapter in my life, the next fitness chapter? Always, because that's just me. But I can definitely tell you 100%, again, I'm not unhappy. At Planet, I am not unhappy. But, and this is interesting, I'm going to close with these few comments here. I miss my pre-core EFX. And so when I think about next chapter for me, my fitness journey, I've alluded to it before. Edge Fitness, Farmington Hills, LA Fitness, rejoining LA Fitness. And you may say, rejoining LA Fitness, yes. When I was a member of Valley Fitness in Novi, and they unexpectedly closed on us in June 2012, I did get a year membership. They automatically renewed my membership to LA Fitness, but the LA Fitness was at Southfield. It was, it was too far for me at the time. I didn't want to drive that far. And so I sent them a certified letter to Irvine, California, cancel my membership, I'm done. But anyway, LA has always been top of mind for me for a very long time. So LA Fitness, and then Schoolcraft College, their fitness center in Livonia, Michigan. So, but what do all three of those have in common? Pre-core EFX as a minimum. But see, how many times have you heard me say over these episodes, I miss my machine. I miss my pre-core EFX. In 25 years of my fitness journey, 17 years, that was my favorite machine. I miss my machine. I miss my machine. So when you think about, again, problem definition, I'm thinking about next chapter of my fitness journey. I don't know when that is. Okay, problem definition. Number one, I'm not unhappy. Number two, I miss my pre-core EFX, all right, which Planet, doesn't have, with all due respect. In the third or fourth quarter of 2018, they did open up. So pre-core, actually, some locations, I don't know which ones do, across the nation do have pre-core EFXs, but mine don't. And so that's fine. And so I know for me, again, I always think like, what can I do? How can I work this out? Whatever. Supplement a membership. Get an additional membership, which is something I do not do. But again, I really like Planet. They do a great job. Temperature. I mean, there's just so many good things about Planet. But also, I can't deny the fact that, as you've heard me say on a number of episodes, how much I miss my machine. I miss my machine. And this particular summer, when Pre-Core sent me, this is so funny. Pre-Core, when they sent me that survey, and I did the survey, and then Will Ostrander, one of the product managers for Pre-Core corporate, sent me that $5 gift card, as a token thank you. And I responded and said thank you. It was great to provide feedback. The feedback meant more to give that feedback meant more to me than I'm sure the folks, because I just very, very, very passionate, very, very loyal to the Pre-Core brand when it comes to their elliptical, cross-training elliptical. And so, but that's an example. Okay, what did you hear me tell him when I read my email to him? I am the world's #1 Pre-Core EFX fan, and I miss that machine. But again, problem definition. Think about this. So I'm not happy, but I miss my Pre-Core EFX. So we think about the next chapter of my fitness journey. This is a teachable moment. That's why I'm being very transparent here. All right, so that is my scenario. And so I can tell you, I have never been recruited as heavily as I am by Edge Fitness of Farmington Hills. Okay, I mean, there's just no other way to describe that. And I understand that is a sales-driven organization, and they've got sales pressure and all of that. And in my case, I went to the grand opening. Again, my sales background, I went to the grand opening September 28th. So then the sales manager, whom I met before at Crunch, Anna Mandrusov, is leading her team, doing a great job there at Crunch. From Crunch over to Edge Fitness. But she's looking, thinking, now Rachelle came to this grand opening and she hasn't been converted to a member. What's going on? So there's a lot of pressure there, and I know that. And so the last time the membership advisor reached out to me and said, hey, this is what we got going on, yada, yada, yada. And I said, you know what? Again, my sales background, being empathetic. Hey, I've got to tell her something, because she's getting pressure. Her boss is getting pressure from the GM. Like, I've got to just say what's going on here. This is what's going on. I have a membership. I'm happy. I don't have any problems. But at the same time, I miss my Pre-Core EFX. So there's going to be a point when my next chapter of the fitness journey is going to start, because I'm going to wake up in the morning and say, man, I miss my machine. I can't take another day without this being a regular part of my workouts. It's going to have, that's just me. And Pre-Core, ever since I did that survey, so about at least 2 or 3 times a month, they'll email me, promotional things about their machines, and then I torture myself and I click on the ellipticals, and then I'm looking at the EFXs. I'm like, why am I doing this? And then recently, this was about 2 weeks ago, I was actually reading a Detroit Free Press article, and then they have advertising the boxes there, and it was precoreathome.com. And then I clicked on it, and then I looked at the ellipticals, and it's like, why are you doing this to yourself, Rachelle? This is torture. So there it is. From a marketing standpoint, okay, I'm a 25-year fitness veteran. I've been in a lot of gyms, but I have, as would be true in any other case or industry, I have brand preferences. So when it comes to elliptical, I do not step foot on an elliptical unless it's Pre-Core. So the other brands, I lost my elliptical, when I left Powerhouse, June 28th, and I canceled that membership and just became exclusive to Planet on July 11th. So think about that. 2.5 years, I've not had my elliptical. And that was a big part of my workout, for many, many years. So I lost that. So again, being a fitness veteran, Planet is their primary target audience is first-time gym goers, as well as casual gym goers. And so again, when I walked into the Barksdale Fitness Center, the first location there in May 17th, 1994, I didn't have any brand preferences. I just walked in and got on the machines. Back in the day, it was the old stair steppers, and I actually do love those when I come across those when I'm on fitness vacations in different clubs. But I didn't care. Like, yeah, my dad ran gyms. Yes, I've been in gyms before, but I didn't care. I just got on machines and hit it. All right, but now think about that. 25 years later, I've developed preferences. And so for me, I'm very big on being challenged, And so for me, the Pre-Core, it's either Pre-Core EFX or nothing, because I'm not challenged by any other elliptical. And so that's an example. I've got brand preferences, so just to utilize Asian as an example, when I was walking around looking at that cardio during the grand opening, I'm like, man, they've got my Precore EFX, they got my Precore AMT, they've got my Precore, they've got my Octane LX, they've got my Octane LX 8000 lateral trainer. You got three of my favorite cardio, highly challenging machines right there. Schoolcraft College, Precore EFX, AMT, Jacob's Ladder, as well as they've got a lateral trainer, but it's not Octane. Again, my brand preference is there again. LA Fitness, again, you've got my Precore, is very standard in all their clubs. And so that's it. So just one machine is what's gonna lead again to a next chapter that would have happened anyway. But I tell you, I feel strongly enough about Planet to keep that membership because they value my membership. There's no doubt in my mind with the millions of members that they have. They value my membership from the moment I've joined. Very good about expressing appreciation. When I would do the surveys, and have to give a shout out certainly to PF Michigan Group was very good. Those managers and members of the leadership teams were very good about reaching out, saying thank you for the feedback on my club when I did the surveys. So good experiences, positive experiences, but also, again, I miss my machine. So I'm gonna wake up one day, I don't know when it is, but that's just me. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna say, man, I can't take another day without my Precore, so I gotta get a supplemental membership, and then of course, also being very transparent. The vulnerability of what that is, when I get in a situation where I can have access to that machine every day again, it's going to be vulnerable in terms of, I'm going to want that every day. It won't be just 3 days a week I go to this gym, 2 days a week I go to, that's going to be the challenge. So I'm being purposefully transparent because I want you to see just thought processes. I'm very self-aware. I have a lot of experience. I've got brand preferences and different experiences over 25 years in different clubs, a lot of clubs across the U.S. and in different countries. So I can articulate what's going on in my mind and what's happening and all of this and that. But most people are just like, no, I want to go somewhere else. Whatever. It just doesn't feel right. I'm leaving. But I can clearly articulate like what's going on. And so I want you to be the same way, folks. Just you've got to be happy. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be successful in 2020 and beyond. But it's going to take you being responsible, taking responsibility for making sure that 2020 and beyond are your best years yet, folks. So I thank you so much for viewing, for all of your support for this 2019 year and the previous years. I couldn't do this without you folks, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to serve you and just to provide information, inspiration, to just challenge you to reach the next level, folks. So I can't wait to continue this in 2020 and beyond. But until then, remember, I am positively passionate about your success, fitness, and leadership. Make it a great rest of the year. Take care.